but in a story that had become ever frequent in the days leading up to and in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma, she had waited and waited, only to arrive at the pump when the station had been sucked free of gas. Standing inside the station, where people had run in to prepay for their fuel since power outages had rendered the credit card machines outside useless, she had almost been to the front of the line when the manager announced in a booming voice that the gas was all gone. Some 15,000 gallons, emptied in a matter of hours. Done, he announced. Over. We're out. Chaos erupted, as many in line began to beg for just a gallon or two. How do you know you are out? Someone asked. Can't I just try? We're out, the manager repeated, and moved like a linebacker to extend his arms behind two people who stood near the checkout. The line cuts off here. After this man and this woman, it's done. No more. We're out. No more gas. People who had been waiting hours just stood there in disbelief, including Martin, who had driven up just after sunrise when the line was already more than a mile long. She didn't know if she had the gas to wait in another long line or if there were even any other stations open in a region that had seemingly been sucked of every drop of fuel. What will I do now? She asked, her voice shaking a bit. I don't know how much longer I can go. A few feet away, the manager walked to the edge of the checkout counter and put his head in his hands. And such was the scene 2 days after Hurricane Irma made landfall in Florida, engulfing virtually the entire state in extreme winds and heavy rains that killed at least 12 and left millions without power. Here along the state's southwest coast, little was left untouched by the storm, which left mangled trees and dangling power lines nearly everywhere you looked. I don't know who to ask for help. Who is helping us? She asked. For all of the state's early warnings and preparedness in urging residents to get out of Irma's way, there was almost no sign here of rescue workers and volunteers who usually descend on a disaster zone. There were no FEMA trailers or other government officials in the neighborhoods, beyond the local police that did their best to seal off neighborhoods and navigate traffic where stoplights were out. With phone lines down and cellular service spotty, it was hard to know why. One army that was out in force was workers from Florida Power and Light, which descended on the region frantically working to restore power in an area where most lost electricity. It was the first step to recovery, getting the traffic lights on and restoring power to grocery stores and gas stations. While the two were interconnected, people around here were less concerned about getting the lights on than finding fuel. One woman near Marco Island, Florida, where Irma made landfall, said she had been forced to ride out the storm because she only had about 60 miles worth of gas in her tank, not nearly enough to get her out of the storm's way. I just want the governor to do what he promised, she said on Monday. He promised to bring in the fuel trucks, and we need them. At the racetrack in Fort Myers, employees walked outside to yell to motorists that the fuel was out before they even came in the door. One man simply parked his car at a pump, turned off the ignition and sat there to wait in hopes the gas pumps would soon flow again.